your permission, wanted to share a little bit about the pastimes of Sita Devi. So we have been talking about Ram Katha since Ram Navami, and we talked about various aspects of Lord Ram's character, pastimes of Lord Ram, and it logically culminates in discussing the glories of Sita Devi. Om Ajnantimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishnapristhaya Bhutale Shramati Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunavadi Paschachade Shatarane Mukham Karoti Vachanam Pangam Langate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramanandam Madhavam. So in order to get a sense of the importance of Sita Devi in Ramayana, Vishwamitra, Sage Valmiki, he actually shares in Ramayana that when giving a title to the composition, he was considering calling it Sita Charitam Mahat, which is that this is dedicated to Sita Charitam, or the character of Sita Devi. So Ramayana in a way is unique, that it showcases the relevance and the importance of women in all aspects of lives. So if you look at the flow of how Ramayana unfolds, you will see that the anchor points are actually women. So at one end of the spectrum, we have Manthara. So Manthara was in effect the cause of the battle with Ravan. So look at the position of Manthara, that she's a domestic servant, relatively unimportant, minor, but ends up wielding an uncommonly large influence in the way that the events unfold. When Maharaj Dasrath had declared the coronation of Lord Ram as the heir apparent, then actually at that time Keikei was very happy, and she was preparing for the coronation, getting ready, and in charge of the decorations, etc. And then she notices that Manthara is kind of moving around, grumbling, getting angry, and Manthara was Keikei's what's the right word? She was Keikei's nurse and governess and servant. When Keikei married Dashrath, then Manthara came along with her from her father's palace. So she was, while she was a servant, she had also was there in the upbringing of Keikei. So Keikei also gave importance to her. So this is Manthara, and then she's grumbling and upset, and Keikei is ignoring her because she knows Manthara is grumpy by nature. And then after some time she asked him, what's going on? Why are you fretting? And then of course Manthara does what she does. She begins to poison Kaikeyi's ears. Now the real reason why Manthara did what she did, she had very little understanding of royal intrigue. She had very little understanding of what will happen once Lord Ram is coronated. But what she could understand was that her position would get diminished. That her mistress, instead of being the mother of the king, would now be the mother of a prince. So just like one gets the servants inherit the importance of their master, so she was also worried that she would her position would get diminished, and that is why she was doing what she did. She did not comprehend the enormities of what she was doing. And the acharyas say that Manthara represents our attachment to material things. So Manthara had a kubja, like she had a lump on her back, which actually gave her a lot of pain, but she was very proud of it. And Kaikeyi, later on, she rewards Manthara by giving her a golden necklace that she could put around the hump on her back. So in the Ramayana it is said that when Bharat came back, because Bharat was not there when all this thing about Lord Ram happened, he was actually in the kingdom of his grandfather, at Kaikeyi's father. But the first thing he noticed was that Manthara was moving around with a costly gold necklace around her hump, and that's what triggered that something is not right. So as I said, Manthara, she represents excessive attachment to material things, and the jiva does not realize himself the impact of it. That it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and it's small, but the impact of it is that it affects one's spiritual life. The impact of it is that it results in Lord Ram being turned away. The effect is that Sita Devi leaves, the goddess of fortune leaves there. So Manthara is one of the movers and shakers, so to speak, in Ramayana. And then we have Kaikeyi, the youngest wife of Maharaj Dashrath, and also to a great extent, she was also not aware of the impact of her actions, the enormities of the impact. So she was influenced by Manthara, and then she basically did what was directed. Kaikeyi represents our intelligence, and when our intelligence is excessively impacted by our desires for material things, then it acts in a way that is opposed to our well-being. Under the influence of Kaikeyi, Lord Ram and Sita Devi were asked to leave. That is the influence of Kaikeyi. Then we have Tarka. Tarka is the first demon killed by Lord Ram. Happens to be a woman. Just like Krishna killed, the first demoness that Krishna killed was Putana. Similarly, in Lord Ram's pastime, the first demon that he kills is Taraka, a woman. Then we have Ahilya. Ahilya, one of the one of the great personalities. And there is a pastime linked with her. She is the wife of Gautam Rishi, and she was cursed by her husband because of her not being able to see through Indra. Indra cheats her. He comes disguised as Gautam, and Indra sometimes gets lusty, and Ahilya is considered to be one of the most beautiful women in the universe. The pastime is that when Narnarayan Rishi, they created the Apsara called Urvashi, and then Urvashi was extraordinarily beautiful. And then the demigods, they started saying to Brahma that nothing in your creation can ever come close to Urvashi. And Brahma took that as a challenge, so he created the most beautiful, the most perfect woman. And her name was Ahilya. So the name Ahilya means one who is without any blemishes. And she was accepted by Gautam Rishi. So she was so beautiful that when Indra saw her, he became very, very attracted to her. And then he assumed the disguise of Gautam Rishi and had relationships with her. And Gautam Rishi, being a great ascetic, found out about it, and he cursed Ahilya with the understanding that and it's one of those pastimes that has several layers, but he said that if you were chaste enough, you should have seen that this is Indra and not me. He also curses Indra. He curses Indra to be covered. The breaking of the curse happens when the lotus feet of Lord Ram touches the rock that Ahilya had become. And then Ahilya regains her position, and Gautam Rishi comes, and both of them resume their life. Then who else do we have? We have Shabri. We have Shabri, who is the embodiment of devotional service. That she had never seen Lord Ram in her entire life, but she was in the ashram of a rishi, and there she heard about the glories of Lord Ram. And she was an ascetic, so she was performing. Tapa. And when the time came, then all the residents of the ashram, they went back to Godhead, but Shabri did not. She wanted to first have darshan of Lord Ram and then go back. So that's the mood of a devotee, that service to the Lord, it exceeds bhukti, and it even exceeds mukti. That she had the opportunity to be liberated, and she preferred to stay back and serve Lord Ram. And of course, the pastime is famous when Lord Ram came. Then at that time, she served him berries that she had actually tasted. Out of love, she wanted to make sure he got sweet berries. And then after serving Lord Ram, she went back to Godhead. Then we have Supernakha. Supernakha is one of the key causes of the battle of Ravan and his ultimate downfall. And Supernakha, even though she is shown in different ways, but in Ramayana we can understand that Supernakha was a greatly powerful ascetic. For 10,000 years, she had performed austerities on the Gokarna mountain. And that is why she had got so many benedictions from Lord Brahma. And of course, everybody is attracted to the personality of Godhead. And Supernakha, because of her pride and arrogance, had become lusty. So she became excessively attached to Lord Ram. And perceiving Sita Devi to be her impediment, she wants to kill Sita Devi. And then of course Lakshman cuts her ear and nose. And then she goes back to Raman and she complains that she has been disfigured by these people in the jungle. And Ravan is like, okay, it's okay, sorry to hear about it, it's a bad thing. But when Supernaka realizes that Ravan is not going to do much for her, so then she starts glorifying Sita Devi, because she knew her brother's attraction for or lust for women. And then he says that his wife is so beautiful, and she goes on and on and on describing the exquisite beauty of Sita Devi. And that's why Ravan becomes very, very attracted. Ravan had never seen Sita, but just by the description of Supernaka, he became convinced that he needs to possess Sita Devi. And that was the beginning of the downfall of Ravan. Then we have Mandodari. So Mandodari is the wife of Ravan, and she is counted as one of the sometimes there's seven or 10 or 12, but amongst the most chaste women in the scriptures. That she is the daughter of Mayadanav, and she appeared by the benediction of Lord Brahma, and very pious, very chaste to her husband, despite the fact that her husband was doing all kinds of nonsense activities. She always gave him good counsel. When he had kidnapped Sita Devi, then over and over she would advise Ravan that you leave her. And at the end of Ramayana, when Ravan is killed, then when Mandodari comes to lament over his dead body, even then she chastises him, saying that you had everything, you had glory, you had fame, the demigods feared you, but you violated a chaste woman. And then she says that because of that, you have reached this unglorious end. And then, of course, the woman with the highest character is Sita Devi, appearing in Ramayana. And Mandodari herself shares that this whole Lanka has not been burned by Hanuman. It has been burned by the anger of Sita Devi. The death of Ravan is because of the wrath of Sita Devi. She does not hold Lord Ram responsible for it. She says that the day that you became lusty towards Sita Devi, that very day your end had become, and this is just a formality. So talk a little bit about Sita Devi. So in the kingdom of Mithila, there was a king by the name of Maharaj Janak. And Maharaj Janak actually appeared in a dynasty that was interesting, because all the kings were named Janak there. So one of the earlier ancestors had started this tradition, and after that all the kings were named Janak. So Janak is a great personality. He is glorified by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. When Krishna says Jai Jadajrati Sheshta Tatta Devata Rojana, that as great men do, others follow. And one of the example that he gives is that of Maharaj Janak. that he lived a life of perfectly embodying a grahastha, a king and a devotee. Maharaj Janak is one of the Mahajans, the 12 Mahajans, who perfectly understand the intricacies of the Veda. So in the 12 Mahajans are personalities like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, Sukadev Goswami, Lord Kapila, great personalities, Bhishma, and there is Maharaj Janak over there. So Maharaj Janak did not have any children, but in that way he was similar to Maharaj Dashrath, that for a very long time he did not have a child, but also not agitated by it. So because he was calm and he was composed, he accepted it. So it so happened that there was a famine in his kingdom. So the kingdom of Maharaj Janak is actually, in the current day, part of it is in India and part of it is in Nepal. It's in the northern corner of Bihar. The Mithila and part of it is actually in Nepal. So there was a famine over there, and it did not rain for 12 years. So then the priests, they wanted to do a yajna. Maharaj Janak was, one of his expertise was Karm Kand. So as part of the yajna, Maharaj Janak was to plow a field with a plow, and the plow was made out of gold. And then after the priest had given all the incantations, etc., then Maharaj Janak, he began to plow the field. And as he was beginning to plow the field, the plow, it struck something like a metal. So Maharaj Janak, with his hand, he excavated it, and in a golden casket was a small girl, an infant girl over there, with an effulgent countenance. So the lower part of the plow that touches the ground is called Sita, and then the furrows that are made. So some of you that have seen in India, typically there is a bull, and on the back of the bull is the yoke, and then there is this T-shaped yoke. So the lower part of the yoke is sitting in the ground, and then it makes these furrows. So the lower part of the yoke, the lower part of the plow is called Sita, and the furrows that it's made is called Sita. So because she was uncovered through a furrow, she got the name of Sita. And Maharaj Janak was very happy. They did not have a child, and now they had a child that was Divya, obviously, was divine. So how did Sita appear over there? And so for this research, I want to thank Gaur Sundar Prabhu. He researched in the Ramayana, and this appears in the 56th chapter of the Aranya Kand of the Valmiki Ramayana.
Prabhu, your voice is breaking.
Can somebody recommend something that I can do to... Is there any option that I can set to make it a little bit more stable?
Prabhu, sometimes stopping video helps because it gives more bandwidth. That is something, but it's not a good alternative, I think. It's nice to see you.
Okay, so let me try that, and
Maybe. Prabhu, the other alternative, you can find the audio through phone. Let the video run on the laptop and audio through phone. That normally works. There is a phone number here, right? Dial by your location. You can always dial to that phone number.
okay. So maybe let me stop the video and see if that helps.
That makes sense.
By the way, that's not my picture.
I think everybody should stop the video. That will be more easy. Don't you think?
Well, I think the problem is from my end, right? So, but is this
There is a bandwidth, like how much is used.
yeah. Is this any better now? Can you hear me clearly, or more clearly?
Yeah, I think it's better probably.
It's better.
Much better, bro.
Yeah, I think it's better, Prabhu.
Okay.
It's always been better for me. We don't have any problem with this hearing through Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Unless one-time interruption, I couldn't also feel much.
No.
I also had a clear reception.
Okay. Well, let me turn the video back on. If it persists, I'll turn it off then. So
We have no problem at all. It's working fine.
it's working fine. Okay. If it starts to break again for several people, then I'll turn the video off then. So this pastime about the antecedents of Sita Devi, it appears in the Aranyakand, 56th chapter of the Valmiki Ramayana, and it kind of blends in with the pastime of Vedavati. So the father of Vedavati is Kushadhwaj, who is the brother of Brahaspati. Brahaspati is the priest for the Devas. And when Vedavati was born, she was born reciting the Vedas. So that's why she got the name Vedavati. And she was the result of severe austerities done by Kushadhwaj and his wife, because they wanted to have have Lord Vishnu as their son-in-law. So later on, Kushadhwaj, he is killed by while he is resting under a tree, he is attacked and killed by a Rakshasa. And Vedavati, in order to fulfill the desires of her father, she performs severe austerities. And when her austerities are almost close to fruition, as destiny would as was destined, Ravan saw her, and Vedavati was very, very beautiful. So Ravan, being Ravan, he came to Vedavati and he proposed alliance with her. So he approaches Vedavati as a very handsome man, and initially Vedavati, she greets him like a guest. She talks pleasantly with him, but being a mystic, she of course understands. She knows who he is. So Ravan, disguised as a young man, a handsome young man, is trying to convince Vedavati that, who knows about Lord Vishnu? We don't even know he's there, and he may be already married. He may not be interested in you. So, basically he was proposing a bird in hand is better than two in the bush. So he was like, I'm here right in front of you, and I'm interested. So you give up this quest for Lord Vishnu and accept me. And then Vedavati says that, O king of the Rakshasas, I have already accepted Lord Vishnu as the master of my soul. So please desist from this. When Ravan realizes that he's been recognized, then he gives up any pretense, and then he leans forward and he catches hold of Vedavati's hair. And then Vedavati, she, by her mystic power, she converts her hand into a sword and cuts off her hair. And then she curses him, saying that you have interrupted my penances, because of which I'm giving up my life, but I will be the cause of your downfall also. And within her own body, by her yoga shakti, she ignites a yogic fire and burns herself. So according to Ramayana, Vedavati appears in Lanka. This is a not very well-known aspect of the pastime, and I suspect there are some more nuances to it. But she appears in Lanka in one of the lotus flowers in the palace of Ravan. So when Ravan sees this extremely beautiful child, he brings her in and he gives her to Mandodari. That this is such a beautiful child that has divinely appeared, you take care of her. Mandodari, however, she understands that this child is none other than Goddess Lakshmi. She also understands that this is Vedavati, who had given this prediction that she will be the cause of his downfall. And so she orders the child to be buried in a distant place. And then she also curses the child. She says that you can only stay in a house where the person has all these qualities. And she talks about qualities of being materially detached and in complete control of the senses and not being affected by the modes. So in a way, the curse of Mandodari was to ensure that the child could not live in anybody's house, because from her perspective, nobody could have this characters. So she says, and so this I am reading. So she says to the child that this faithless girl will thrive only in a house where the householder has his senses conquered, and who, being an emperor, lives like a perfect hermit, and who, though wealthy and supreme by himself, will care nothing for the riches, but view whole of the world and people as his own soul with an impartial attitude. Now, it so happened that Maharaj Janak embodied all these characteristics. So when Maharaj Janak, so then the subsequent pastime happens as related, that the attendants of Mandodari, they buried Sita Devi in the field near the palace of Maharaj Janak. And because Maharaj Janak embodied those characteristics, Sita Devi was able to flourish in her house. Later on, she goes to the house of Maharaj Dasharath, who also embodies those characteristics. And then later on, she is with Lord Ram, who is actually the perfection of those characteristics. So everywhere where Sita Devi goes, she is, whether it's a curse or it's a benediction, but she is blessed by Mahapurushas, the association of of great people. After the appearance of Sita Devi, Maharaj Janak actually had a daughter by the good fortune that Sita Devi bought, and her name was Urmila. So when Sita Devi grew, then the fame of her beauty also spread. Now, one thing that did not spread about Sita Devi was her mystic powers or her strength. So it is said that Maharaj Janak had this enormous, gigantic bow that required 5,000 people to move, and this is 5,000 people in Treta Yuga. And the bow was actually made by Vishwakarma. So he had made two bows. One was given to Lord Shiv, with which he had conquered with which he had fought with the Tripura demon, and the other he had gifted to Lord Vishnu. So when Lord Shiva, after the battle with Tripura, he had gifted the bow to one of the early ancestors of Maharaj Janak, and so that bow was a family heirloom. The other bow that Vishwakarma had made for Lord Vishnu finally came in the possession of Lord Parshuram. So this bow in the palace of Maharaj Janak was so big and heavy that very rarely was it moved from one place to another. And then it so happened that Maharaj Janak, with the help of the 5,000 people, was having the bow cleaned, and when the servants came, they found that the bow had disappeared, and everybody was shocked. Firstly, that it's not easy to pick the bow, and secondly, who would have the strength to steal this bow? So they all rushed around, and what did they see? They see that 5-year-old Sita Devi, she is using the bow to break mangoes from a tree. So because she was 5 years old and small, and there were some mangoes up in the tree branches, and she could not reach, she had the bow in one of her small hands, and she was trying to knock the mangoes out. So then, of course, they got the bow back and they put it. And then the priest of Janak said that when the time is right, you make sure that she marries somebody who is superior to her in strength. Because can you imagine Sita Devi with all her strength and somebody not as strong, so she could just like pick him up and throw him away? So she said, make sure that somebody is comparable or greater in strength to Sita Devi. So use this bow as an index to determine. So later on, when the time was right and the Swayamvar of Sita Devi was arranged, then this was the condition that was put in, that the person would have to lift the bow. And many kings came, many powerful personalities came, but they could not pick the bow. According to certain scriptures, it's not there in the Ramayana, but according to certain scriptures, Ravan also came to the Swayamvar. And the reason that he came was that he had heard that whoever Sita Devi marries would be the Lord of the universe. So he was trying to work it the other way around. So the prediction of the astrologers were that Sita Devi would marry the Lord of the universe. He was working it the other way around, that if I marry Sita Devi, I will become the Lord of the universe. So he comes and he is actually able to lift the bow a few inches off the ground. And Sita Devi then she begins to pray to Lord Shiva that I'm going to be in a lot of trouble if this Rakshasa picks up this bow. So then Lord Shiva has done this once in the past when Ravana was picking up the Mount Kailash, then he forced the Kailash mountain on his hand. So Lord Shiva does exactly the same thing. He forces the bow on the hands of Ravana. And Ravana, he's unable to move it beyond that point. And then of course Lord Ram comes and he very casually picks up the bow, and he not only picks up the bow, then he strings the bow. And he strings the bow and bends it, and the bow snaps and breaks into 2 pieces. And the sound, the thunder of the bow was so enormous that with the exception of Ram and Lakshman and Vishwamitra and few other personalities like Maharaj Janak and Sita Devi, everybody fell to the ground and became unconscious. So, as a result of this, Lord Sita Devi, she happily garlanded Lord Ram, and the marriage ceremony was consummated. Maharaj Dashrath came, and then the alliance was also established between Lakshman and Urmila. And Bharat and Shatrughan were married to the 2 daughters of the brother of Janak. I forget his name. I think he was Kushadhwaj, but I forget I'm not sure, but he was the brother of Janak, and he had 2 daughters, and they married Bharat and Shatrughan. So in this way, the 4 brothers were married. Some of the aspects of Sita Devi's personality. So Sita Devi is an embodiment of harmony. If you see in Ramayana, she's always trying to harmonize everything around her, whether it is people or whether it is environment or nature. So when Sita Devi is out living in the jungles, then once Lord Ram, he apologizes to her that I should have been giving you the pleasures of the palaces, but instead of that, you're wearing barks as clothes and sleeping on the ground. And then Sita Devi gives a very eloquent speech, which actually is almost like a poster for the environmentalists today, where she glorifies the importance of living with nature and the happiness of it. So she talks about how pure the air is, how the consciousness is purified. She also talks about the fact that if Lord Ram was in Ayodhya, then his attention would have been divided, because he would be the king. He would have to take care of so many things. Now she has uninterrupted association with Lord Ram. There is probably one time when Sita Devi spoke outside character. She was very docile and very gentle spoken, but there is only once that she speaks in a way that is contrary, and that also to her mother-in-law, Kaushalya. So when Sita Devi is preparing to leave Ayodhya with Lord Ram, then Kaushalya, she calls Sita Devi, and then she says that you take care of my son. And this Kaushalya, of course, is doing because of her affection for Lord Ram, and also because of her duty as the mother. And Sita Devi at that point, I'm trying to find the reference for that. Can't find it. So Sita Devi at that time, she speaks with a tinge of sarcasm, saying that, my dear mother, do you think that I am faithless? Or do you think that I am ignorant? That I do not understand my duties as a wife? And the conversation actually is often quoted as a conversation, as a statement of the duties of a wife to her husband there. Within this pastime, there is also a conversation that happens between Sita Devi and Lord Ram, that also to some extent is out of character for Sita Devi. And this is when Lord Ram instructs her to stay back. He says, you stay back and take care of the mothers while I go to the forest. The forest is no place for women. And then Sita Devi, she says that, I heard you know the scriptures well, but you appear to be an ignorant person to me. So this is Sita Devi talking to her husband. And she speaks sarcastically, she speaks strongly, she speaks with a lot of logic also. She says that when my husband entrusted me to you, he also entrusted me to the path of dharma. And now you're asking me to deviate from the path of dharma. So do you think as a husband that behooves you? And Lord Ram, of course, is suitably chastised. And he says, whatever you want is okay with me. Just stop scolding me. He doesn't actually say that, but he was probably thinking that. So after that, Sita Devi, she establishes her right to go with Lord Ram and accompanies him. So within Ramayana, there are three qualities of Sita Devi that exemplify her striving for inner harmony. So one is the quality of forgiveness. That Sita Devi, so she had a very interesting approach to forgiveness. That she did not feel the need to forgive because she did not take offense. So there are different stages of forgiveness. One is you don't forgive. One is you see that you have been wronged, and you forgive. The other is you forgive before you are being asked to forgive. And the highest stage is the person does not even feel the need to forgive because the person is already forgiven. So Sita Devi exemplified that nature. That when Hanuman came to Ashok Vatika, then as a service to Sita Devi, he offered to kill the guards over there. And so she was guarded by a set of Rakshasis, and Ravan, under the instructions of Ravan, they would torment Sita Devi, mostly verbally. There was no physical torment, but mostly verbally. They would sometimes sing the glory of Ravan, or sometimes they would criticize Lord Ram. They would taunt Sita Devi, and Sita Devi would be composed. So then Hanuman came and he said, he offered to do many things. He said, let me take you back to Ayodhya. And Sita Devi refused. She says that you are like my son, but I cannot touch the body of another man. And then she said that, where is the glory of my husband? If you are rescued by me, how can I glorify my Lord? So let him come and kill Ravan and take me and be glorious. My sufferings are insignificant. So then Hanuman said that at least let me kill these guards who have been tormenting you. And then Sita Devi says, why? Why do you want to kill them? She says, well, this is what they've been doing. And Sita Devi says, well, that's what Ravan has asked them to do. So why should you blame them? That they are just simply carrying on the orders of a mischievous master. So don't worry about it. And later on, when Sita Devi is rescued, she forgives all of them. And they all come and ask for forgiveness, and they say, no, don't worry. In fact, she finds something good. She says, you gave me company when for the 1 year I was there all by myself. Then you gave me your association. The second quality is that of magnanimity. Very, very magnanimous. Not just in terms of wealth, but in terms of everything. So what is Sita Devi's most prized possession? That is Lord Ram. And she was very happy to share Lord Ram with Hanuman, with the citizens of Ayodhya, with his brothers. Very, very magnanimous that way. When the battle with Ravan had ended, then Lord Ram, he was preparing to go back to Ayodhya, and Sita Devi. So then Lord Ram says bye-bye to his army of the Kishkindavasis. He says, okay, thank you very much for your help. And Sita Devi says that they should come along with us. They have helped us so much, they should come along with us. And Lord Ram, of course, never says no to Sita Devi. He says, yes, they should come along with us. And we had discussed this, that one of the pastimes of Sita Devi being banished to the jungle was a reflection of her magnanimity. That more than Lord Ram, Sita Devi was concerned about the influence that people were wrongly laboring under, considering that Sita Devi may have been molested by Ravan, considering that to be a stigma on Lord Ram, considering that to be a cause of agitation for the citizens of Ayodhya. So from her heart she wanted that somehow or the else I am the cause of this disturbance. For my husband, for the citizens, and the citizens are like my children. So it is said that a child while in the womb kicks the mother, and the mother very proudly says, see, my child is kicking. Such a strong child I have. And when the child is teething, it bites the mother. And the mother feels pain, but the mother smiles and says, oh, the teeth of my child is coming. So Sita Devi had that attitude of being a mother. So it's not that she got envious of the washerman and said, he's spoken bad about me, beat him up or do something to him. But she said, something needs to be done to take care of my children. And Lord Ram, of course, reciprocates with that desire. Then the third quality is that of gratitude. That we see during the journey of how Sita Devi, with just her act of genuine gratitude, very, very pleasing to everybody. And you see, this is Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, but when she's crossing the river, she's praying to the river that please protect the citizens of Ayodhya. Please make it so that we also have the privilege to come back after 14 years to our home. When she's in the forest, she's praying to the trees. She's thanking them for the shelter, thanking them for the fruits. When she was at the ashram of Aitreya Rishi, then she's serving Mother Anasuya, and in terms of position, Sita Devi is Lakshmi Devi. But she takes a very humble position in front of Ansuya and receives instructions on what is the code of conduct for a woman, for a wife, for a mother, and constant expression of gratitude. So all this manifests into a person who, very much like her husband, exemplifies the perfection of everything. She is the perfection of unconditional love. She has this ability to enter into the heart of even one who is most sinful, most guarded, and make place for herself. When Sita Devi had initially come to Ayodhya, then Maharaj Dashrath had prophesied or given her this benediction that, my dear Sita, your remarkable behavior will earn you a place in history as the most glorious woman the world has ever seen. So till the very end of her pastime, Sita Devi, even though she goes through circumstances that are adverse or challenging, she never wavers from her discipline to her values. Whether it was chastity to her husband, even when she was banished, when she was pregnant, never once did she think badly about Lord Ram or Lakshman. The pastime of Sita Devi chastising Lakshman, that does not appear in Ramayana. We see that generally in movies, that when Lord Ram had gone after the deer, and Sita Devi says to Lakshman that you go and rescue Ram, and Lakshman says, I'll stay here. And then Sita Devi says that she starts speaking very harshly to Lakshman. That does not appear in Valmiki Ramayana. Now it may appear in one of the Puranas, but not in Valmiki Ramayana. It's out of character for Sita Devi to speak like that. So till the very end, in all the trials and tribulation, adversities, even when Lord Ram is refusing to accept her, and she enters back into Mother Earth, there is no ill feelings in her. So it is said that Sita Devi, she embodies the last verse of the Shishtastakam composed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, wherein he says, Aslisha va padratam pinashtuma madarshna mam hatam karotu va yata tatha va vidata lampatu mat pranatastu sevana praha. The mood of a devotee of the highest caliber. That, oh my Lord, whether you make me happy by being present before me, or whether you make me broken-hearted by not being there, but you are my worshipable Lord, life after life. So that is embodied by Sita Devi. Whether she was in the jungle with Lord Ram, whether she was in the palace with Lord Ram, whether she was banished by Lord Ram or tested by Lord Ram, her resolve never wavers. So I'll conclude by a statement that was made by Srila Prabhupada in a lecture on Sita Devi. So he says that Sita Devi is the origin of all potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Chit Shakti, Parasaya Shaktir vidveja shruyate. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has many potencies, multi-potencies. And one of the potency is the Hladini Shakti, pleasure potency. That pleasure potency is Sita, Radharani, Lakshmi Devi. Same personality. Same personality comes as Sita Devi. Same personality is the original personality is Srimati Radharani. And in Vaikuntha, it is Lakshmi Devi. So one of the other details of Sita Devi also, or it's more for Vedavati, that apparently Vedavati appears in the Dwapar Yuga as Draupadi, and in the Satya Yuga as Tulsi Devi. So this also I did not know. So Prabhupada would also say, he would talk about this analogy that Ravan wanted to enjoy Sita separate from Ram. So Sita Devi is the goddess of fortune and Lord Ram is the proprietor. So he says people with materialistic mentality, they want to enjoy opulences without worshipping the proprietor of the opulences. In effect, they have the mentality like that of Ravan, that they want to forcibly take Sita Devi away from where she belongs in the association of Lord Ram and enjoy her for themselves. And Prabhupada says the end is never good. That while Raman had Sita Devi, he was suffering because he had Sita Devi, but he could not enjoy. And as a result of that, he got infamy, and he was finally killed, and whatever he had, he lost. So Prabhupada said that is the consequence of people who are trying to enjoy matter without Krishna. That even while they have the external manifestations of matter, so it is said that Ravan had actually not taken Sita Devi, he had taken Maya Sita. And this again relates to the pastime of Vedavati, that when Vedavati had entered the fire, she stayed within the fire. And when Raman came to kidnap Sita Devi, and when Sita Devi crossed over the fire line that was established by Lakshman, then Agni Dev did a swap. So the original Sita Devi entered into Agni, and Vedavati as Maya Sita came out. So even though Ravan thought that he was possessing Sita Devi, but he actually had in his possession Maya Sita. And that is why when Lord Ram kills Ravan, he does not even look at Sita Devi, because Lord Ram only looked at his wife. And only when Sita Devi did the Agni Pariksha, which is she went back into the fire, and then Maya Sita was again taken back, and Sita Devi came, then Lord Ram, he enthusiastically accepted her. So that's the mentality of materialistics, that when they are enjoying opulence, it's Maya. It's opulence dressed, it looks like Sita Devi, but it's actually Maya Sita. And even then, the end result is that one gets destruction. So on this appearance day of Sita Devi, our prayers at her lotus feet is that just like she is the embodiment of good qualities, she bestows this on us. And just like she is unwavering in her service to Lord Ram, we also be unwavering in our service to Krishna and Srimati Radharani. So I'll stop over here. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So I'm just going to unmute everybody, see if there is any questions or comments.
Hare Krishna, one
question, Prabhuji, and actually, a lot of other thoughts also going on. Question is like Vedavati, she was wanted to have Lord Vishnu as her husband, and how come in the next life, like she got the chance of being a sister, like Draupadi being a sister of Lord Krishna. So how that kind of rasam, this thing can happen?
So it's kind of interesting that earlier on when Draupadi did have that bhav of having Krishna as her husband, and then there is a conversation in which Krishna says that not this time. This time it's not, for the sake of Leela, it's not going to happen there. So, I mean, in a way, yes, because she was the wife of his brothers, so she was like his sister. But does not give a lot of, or at least I haven't read that why did it happen that way, but just the fact that yes, Draupadi did have that mood towards Krishna of the Madhurya mood, the conjugal mood, and Krishna does have this conversation with her that in this birth it's not possible. Okay. Anyone?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Anybody, Prabhu?
Thank you so much for a wonderful class, Prabhu. Prabhuji, I wanted to know, what does Vibhishan represent? Does it, I mean, the reason I'm asking is because, being materialistic too much seems like there's no hope, because that's what happens as far as Ravan's story goes, right? So, like being devotees, or even at least who are trying to practice, do we come under the consciousness of Vibhishan in that case?
It's a good question. So I specifically do not know what Vibhishan represents. Vibhishan was actually a little different, that he was never materialistic. So if you look at the antecedents of Vibhishan, when his mother Kaikeshi, she ordered her children to perform austerities, and basically Kaikeshi said that get power and get mystic siddhis. So then Ravan and Kumbhakaran and Vibhishan and Supnakha, they go to Gokarna mountain and perform austerities. And there Ravan is asking that, may I have this and may I have that? And the only one thing that Vibhishan asks was that, may I have devotion? So from the beginning he was a devotee, and in a way he was a benediction of Vishrava, because when Kaikeshi approaches Vishrava, the father of Ravan, asking to be accepted as a wife, then Vishrava, because he is a great yogi, he says that your children will be class 1 rascals. They will create so much of trouble, and they will be the cause of so much of disturbance. And even though Kaikeshi is from an Asuric dynasty, but she is still pious, and she is very reluctant to have children with this demoniac mentality. So then she asks Vishrav that, no redeeming qualities, and Vishrav says, one of your son will be a devotee. And then she says, I'm willing to have hundreds and thousands of Rakshasa sons if I am able to get one son as a devotee. So that was Vishrava's benediction and prophecy also. So he was always in that position of being a devotee. He was always advising Ravan to do the right thing. He was one of the persons who spoke up strongly against Ravan when he kidnapped Sita Devi, which is why Ravan banished him from the kingdom. Vibhishan is generally given as an example of, along with personalities like Bali Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj, that regardless of where you take birth, you can still become a devotee. So sometimes people say that devotion is the right of brahmanas, or devotion is the right of those people born in devotee families. But these personalities, Prahlad was born to Hiranyakashipu, and Vibhishan was in not very good company. Bali Maharaj was again in the same dynasty, but they became devotees. So he is given as that example, that devotion is like a lotus flower, it can blossom anywhere and everywhere. If we don't have any more questions, so we can chant one round, and then after that we'll do the nursing day prayer.
Before going that, Prabhuji, I just wanted to thank you, Prabhuji, because last few classes learning for these are the characters. They exemplified the extremes, like Ram and Sita Devi. They are on one end and Ravan in the other end. Like our society being going in the wrong direction in a rapid pace, like it gives us a hope that we can take shelter of these Ram and Sita personalities and